Hello everybody and welcome back to the United Stand. This is your hot takes, and after the absolute horror show of a performance against Everton, there are some spicy ones.
Yep.
And I'm not holding back.
I'm
There's
not
no
holding back.
and there's no holding back from you guys as well.
It was about, 24 hours ago we were here playing Everton, and it was a terrible game. So we got to let our frustration out a little bit.
We've got to unpack it. Well, the first hot take is that Ruben Amorim has no plan B and he won't admit it.
I agree. I agree to a sense. I think, look, we've seen it in multiple games. It wasn't just the Everton game. That's not the first time we saw Ruben Amorim struggle. Or not like struggle, but let's say refuse to change the way we plays. But we've seen it numerous times where we come up against opposition where we should be taking advantage based on the way they play, based on the circumstances in the game, like a red card, and all these different things. But Ruben Amorim consistently just refuses to change the way he plays, or even like a systematic change or formation change. He only wants to play the way how he plays. And I've said it so many times, Ruben Amorim would rather lose his way than change it and win. And I think that's a terrible way of being a manager. I think we want a manager who will win at all costs. He would risk everything, risk the way he plays just to get a win at the end of the day. Someone like Jose Mourinho, he will do anything to win. But with Ruben Amorim, he only wants to win if it's his way, and he doesn't want to have a plan B.
There was someone that said, and I had to bring it into the show, that Manchester United fans got frustrated with Ten Hag ditching the Ajax way of play to accommodate the players because the players couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And he wanted to play to the best of the players' ability. And he constantly got questioned why we're not seeing a style of play that you played at Ajax. And he said, well, I'm adapting to the players I've got. And now people are annoyed at Amorim not adapting and sticking to his way.
It's a balance, though. You have to do both. You got to be able to adapt to what you have, but you also have to have some kind of style of play that you can bring into this team. Ten Hag couldn't do, or he tried to do one, but he didn't go back to trying to bring a style of play, and Amorim's doing a complete opposite, sticking to his style of play and not trying to adapt. So there's no balance between both managers.
And I want to say this, just to round up this point, is with Ruben Amorim, I have never, since his year in charge of 12 wins, by the way, 12 wins at the Premier League, in his year in charge, I've never seen him where I'm at the end of the game and I'm thinking, wow, you really changed that game while we're in it.
Yeah.
We've had some good games, don't get me wrong, and we've had some good results. Very far and few between, but we have had them. But I've never thought, wow, there was a real shift in that game where he completely changed the game by substitutions. Maybe the Lyon game, but then it was just kind of a freak night. The Europa League final, he didn't manage to do it when a European trophy was on the line. And then 10 men where Everton are asking you to come out and play against them. What do you work on in training? What is your style of play? No changes that benefited that side, benefited the players that were on the pitch, benefited their best attributes, and ultimately United got embarrassed. So I agree, no plan B, and doesn't change the game in a positive way, in my opinion.
All right, next hot take is about Mbeumo, and the hot take is that Mbeumo is going to have the same United career as Bruno Fernandes.
Oh, it's hard to say that it's going to happen in the exact same way. I think he's a different sort of character to Bruno Fernandes. But do I think he could have the impact on this team that Bruno Fernandes had when he came in? Yes, and some, really. I really do, because I expect, this is how I expect Manchester United to be. I expect Mbeumo to still be at Manchester United when we're challenging for Premier League titles.
100%,
That's what I expect. I don't know if Bruno Fernandes is still going to be here when challenging for Premier League titles, because that's in the very distant future from where we're at now. And Bruno isn't getting any younger. But Bruno Fernandes, no matter how you feel about him in the midfield, and I think a lot of people would admit doesn't work, and no matter how you think maybe in that midfield he could be a hindrance to the team sometimes, nobody can deny the impact that he's had on Manchester United since he came in as a captain, as a player, and he's been the best signing post Fergie. Like, he has been the best signing post Fergie, and I think Mbeumo is going to be next in line for that title. He was the only one against Everton who looked worthy to wear the shirt, in my opinion. He was Ahmad and Delay also, maybe, but he just looks levels above everybody else. And I genuinely think he's one of the best players in the Premier League, and that is going to just keep Manchester United rising. And I think he'll still be in that forward line when, hopefully, if we play our cards right, in the distant future, we will be challenging eventually. It doesn't feel like it now.
I agree, but I also looked at it in another way. I looked at it in the sense of, right now, how is Bruno's career ending as a United player? It's not ending the best. A lot of people are kind of saying that I don't want him to leave, but a lot of people want him to go, and he's obviously having big offers from Saudi, and it's seeming like people don't want him to be the captain and all these kind of things. The way I look at it is, if Mbeumo's career as a United player ends like that, that's a failure.
Yeah.
I don't want it to end like that.
I want him to leave on a high.
Yeah, I want him to leave as a Premier League champion. I want him to leave as one of the best players in the world. So for that hot take to say that he's going to have the same career as Bruno, I almost don't want it to happen, in the sense of I want it to go on to be someone greater than what, it's tough to say, but to have a greater career than what Bruno's had, even though Bruno's had a pretty good United career as well.
And I think Bruno would even admit he would trade all the individual accolades for a Premier League title to be competing in the Champions League, and that's what Mbeumo needs to do, and he's capable. But the difference is, you never put the right players around Bruno with the right quality. Get the right players around Mbeumo, and you can start building a proper serious team. The next hot take, and I think this is a really interesting one to discuss, is that Ruben Amorim protects the senior players because he knows that they control the dressing room.
You know what? In a way, I feel like every manager does that. You know, you can't really manage a team by yourself. I know you're supposed to, but you need captains, you need older players, senior players, like I said, more experienced players to have an influence on the other players. 'Cause at the end of the day, I mean, I heard something that Ruben Amorim doesn't necessarily talk to other players as much as he talks to senior players. He might speak to, let's say, Bruno a little bit more, or Casemiro a little bit more, because he knows those are the kind of players that have a bigger influence on the rest of the team. So that does make a little bit of sense, but also, you also just got to look at the quality of certain players. If your senior players are not giving you what you need on the pitch and they're not performing the way you want them to perform, if you're choosing them as your favourite players and you're making them, I don't know, seem like they're above the rest of the players, then you're almost kind of shooting yourself in the foot, because the less senior players might be putting in better performances.
I think he's also backed into the corner a little bit because there's not much to choose from. With regards to Bruno and Casemiro, who else do you play in the midfield? I know there's shouts for Manu and Ugarte, but he doesn't fancy Manu, he's not having him. Let's be honest. As much as we want him, he's just not having him. And then Ugarte, let's be real, he's not been anywhere near what we thought he was going to be. I actually heard, and by the way, do take this with a pinch of salt, but I heard it from someone in and around the club that apparently Casemiro and Amorim don't really get on. I heard that. But I don't know if that's true. It's from what Amorim speaks about, it doesn't seem like it's true, because he bigs him up quite a lot. But for me, Casemiro feels like one of the characters in there, even though he's past his best, he's got standards. 100%. He's played it at top level Real Madrid, he's got standards. I won't be surprised if he's not happy. I won't be surprised it's embarrassing for him as well. I mean, I know he's not playing absolutely top of his game, but he knows what a winning team should be. And look at where we are, and I think fans are starting to accept this mediocrity, and we don't expect to be challenging for a Premier League title this year, but I do think with Amorim, he's maybe not got the depth that he would want, so he kind of has to play these senior players because at least they've been there and maybe they've done it, rather than taking a chance on the younger players who haven't had that experience, and it could maybe ruin their early development. Yeah, look, I agree, but and their confidence.
One thing that I'll say about that is sometimes you just never know. Like, there's teams that we've seen be successful with young teams. You know, look at Arsenal. I mean, Arsenal, they're not won yet, but they are winning most of their games and most likely going to win the Premier League with a bunch of players that have never won the Premier League. You know what I mean? It's not all the players that have been successful internationally. A lot of them are international players, but not all of them are successful.
They have been experienced though, because they've stumbled multiple times now. They know what it's like to be in a Premier League race. But our players don't.
That's the point though. You have to get to that point. They only got to that point playing for Arsenal. You know what I mean? So just saying that, I'm only going to play, I'm going to favourite whatever the word is, my senior players because they've won before. You never know. The younger players might be the ones that actually get you to that point, whereas the senior players might be a bit more comfortable. All right, so the next hot take is that every manager in the league will struggle with this squad.
Define struggle, because struggle to win the Premier League and compete in the Champions League, because the squad isn't good enough. Do I think this squad could do a lot better than what we're currently seeing and have seen for the past year?
Yeah, I agree.
So the question really should be is, would other managers in the league do a better job with this squad than Ruben Amorim? And my answer would be yes. I think there's multiple other managers that have squads that on paper maybe aren't as good as the Manchester United squad, are getting better out of their players. I don't think we should be expecting anything crazy from this United squad. We have a lot of gaps. We don't have the wing backs to play the system that Amorim wants to play. We don't have the midfield to play the midfield we don't have the midfield to play the system Amorim wants to play. We only have one striker. I gather all that. We've got a young keeper in goal who looks really good so far, but still it's thin. But another manager would come in, change it to a 4-3-3. You've got a three-man midfield of Casemiro, Bruno and Kobbie Mainoo. Can play Mason Mount in there. You've got more structure. You can go to a back four where Dorgu would be better because he wouldn't need as much attacking output. You still need attacking output, but he'd be better. You could play Luke Shaw there. You've got centre-backs in De Ligt and Martinez who can work together. Mazraoui's a better right-back. Dalot, the best we've ever seen him at United, is a right-back. It's still not competitive. But I think that team genuinely could push for Champions League. This team's nowhere near pushing for
Yeah.
Champions League based off, and I don't want to be drastic, but that Everton game highlighted so many issues that we're gonna come up with in multiple times this season. And when we go to AFCON, when AFCON happens and then Mbeumo goes to AFCON and Ahmad goes to AFCON, we're in trouble because everything comes down that right-hand side. And but other managers would find a solution to that. I see the likes of Areola at Bournemouth. I see the likes of Glasner at Crystal Palace. And a lot of people, I mean, most people would say United's squad is better than Bournemouth's, but Bournemouth are a better performing side than us. They can score way more goals than us.
Yeah.
Does Mbeumo get into Bournemouth's side? I think so, yeah.
Of course.
And does Cunha get into Bournemouth's side? Yeah. But they are the two better players in our squad. But what I'm saying is other managers are getting more out of what they've got than what Amorim's doing.
Yeah, I think you put it perfectly. And just to kind of wrap up quickly, the way I put it is pretty simple. From what I've seen from our players, have I seen more positives than I've seen from the manager? And for me, when I look at the players that people complain about, like, for example, everyone said Mazraoui had a bad game. People have said that Casemiro or Bruno or Mainu or Xerxes, I've seen more positive games from those players than I've seen positive matches from Amorim. So the way I look at it is, if you're going to blame one or the other, look at who's putting better performances overall. I think we can get better, way better, out of the players that we have than I've seen from the manager. So that's how I put it.
I also think, just to finish off that point, if near enough every player in the starting 11 looks poor, it's not a coincidence. That's on the tactical setup.
Yeah.
Some players sometimes just have stinkers of a game. Some players will go on a poor run. For example, Dallow's gone on a poor run. He's playing out of position, to be fair to the guy, but he's still been really poor.
Yeah.
One-off occurrences. When the whole team looks poor, you've got to start to look at the tactical setup.
Yeah.
And to finish, Maud, and get in the comments as well and see if you agree with us, we have more Champions League level players in our starting 11 than non-Champions League level players in our starting 11.
Okay, I mean, just to clarify, Champions League level is just basically if you can play for a team that's in the Champions League.
If you can play for a team that can get into the Champions League from the Premier League, I would say.
Yeah, okay, cool, yeah.
So
that's 5 teams in the Premier League that can get there, so yeah, let's do it.
I'd go Larmans, yes.
Yeah.
I think he could do it.
Yeah, I think he could start for one of the top 5 teams, yeah.
And then I'll go with what Manchester United's last 11 was. Luke Shaw.
Yeah.
I think he could. Yeah, I think he could.
As of right now, today, Luke Shaw, yes, he could play for a team that could qualify for Champions League, yeah.
Dullet.
100%.
Lenny Yoro.
Me personally, I think he could start because I've seen centre-backs for Chelsea and all these kind of teams that, in my opinion, they're not better than Lenny Yoro. But I understand why people might say he's not at the level of a Champions League team, but I think he could start for a team that could qualify for a Champions League, if that makes sense.
I think where he's at in his career at 19 is fantastic.
Yeah.
Don't think he's quite ready yet to push on to be that top level star. Like, to me, he's not even touching on the bracket of the Gabriel, the Salibas, the Canates.
That's a Premier League winning team, though. I'm talking about qualifying for a Champions League.
Yeah, look at the competition. I mean, maybe.
Yeah, look at the competition.
I'd say maybe.
Okay, fair
I'd say
maybe.
maybe.
50-50. We'll put it 50-50.
Yeah, we'll put it 50-50. But in 19, he's doing fantastic.
Yeah, 100%.
And I don't think he should have as much pressure on him as he's got.
Yeah.
Anyway, Dorgu.
Nah,
you know, wouldn't it? Let's be honest. At this moment, as a left wing back, I'd prefer him as a left back personally, but currently it's no.
Yeah.
Mazraoui.
You know what, we said it before, I think he started off definitely as a player that could, but I think he has kind of dropped a little bit in form, probably due to injuries and all that kind of stuff. But I think the best Mazraoui can 100% play for a Champions League level team.
As a right-sided centre-back,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
But he's not a wing-back. He's asking him to basically be a right winger. The amount of times he was in the position of a right winger yesterday, and it's like he's not a right winger, he's a right-sided centre-back in a back 3, or he's a right back.
Or even a left back.
Yeah.
I've seen him play left back pretty well, so yeah. He's not being utilised in the best way.
No, he's not.
Yeah.
Next up, you would have the 2 midfielders, so Casemiro.
Right now, this season, yeah.
I think in the right setup,
Yeah.
he could do a job.
Yeah, he could do a job. I don't think any team would take him though, but as of right now, yeah.
Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah. I think he's one of the best. I still think he's one of the best midfielders in the league.
I think if he's in a 3-man midfield, yes.
Yeah.
In that current setup, it's not working, in my opinion. Then you go to Mbeumo.
100%, yeah.
Yeah, that's like no questions asked.
Yeah, 100%.
And then we had Ahmad.
Yeah, I think he could easily, yeah.
Yeah, me too. And then you have Xerxes.
Probably
no.
not.
Off the bench, maybe.
Yeah,
but,
off the bench,
but,
maybe.
But not in the. No, I wouldn't be honest. I wouldn't say he's a starter. So
No.
I think overall there it's like 50-50, but maybe edging on the side of Champions League, which means...
And to be fair, that's not including Martinez, who I think so. That's not including Mount, who I think so. That's not including Kobe, Cunha. There's still a few players that I've not spoken about that could play for Champions League level team.
And that reflects on me as Man United should be fighting for top 5 this season, because we're in and around that level, so we should be fighting for it. Yes, you need a squad, but we're playing 1 game a week, guys. We're playing 1 game a week. I looked at this, and stay tuned for this. We'll finish on this point. Crystal Palace in Europe have an 8 o'clock game on Thursday night. They play us at 12 o'clock on Sunday. We've got nothing. If they look more intense than us, I will lose it. If we look like we're lethargic and on low battery mode, I'll be so annoyed, because there is no excuse. So yeah, that's where I'm at on that one. Look, Mars, how do you rate the hot takes?
I ordered the hot takes. I think, especially after yesterday, a lot of people are emotional. They want to get their feelings out, and they usually change week by week. So make sure you're still sending in your hot takes every single week so we can discuss it on the show. Yeah,
this is how we feel emotionally in the moment, and how you guys feel as well. So keep sending your hot takes in. Thank you so much for watching. It's getting very dark here in Manchester.
It's getting cold as well.
At nearly 5 o'clock. So yeah, we better go and get inside. But thank you everyone for watching. Smash a like on the video, and hopefully we are back with some more positive ones this time next week.